Grateful and honored to be in this position. It's been 3 years now since I last in front of a crowd. Mind you, Friday night, my birthday night in Niagara Falls, hockey tournament, I don't know why I went. In front of a whole Margaritaville, right across from Niagara Falls. Boys asked me to go up, so I did my favorite Pearl Jam's Jeremy, and of course, standing ovation.
Slayed it.
And I've done it about 157 times in my life, so I got any better down pretty good. But the last time I did something as serious as this is 3 years ago. So please bear with me. I'm coming off a flu bug, and I can't hear too well off my right ear for certain reasons, and I'll do my best. My wife continuously tells me I'm a low talker as well, like that Seinfeld episode. So I'm going to make sure that I stay high toned. Okay. All right. Everybody's done a buyer consultation.
Yes.
Okay. Who's new? Who's new here? 1, 2. Okay. Great. More than 5 years.
I'm in my 3rd year.
3rd year. Oh my God. Wow. 5 years. Yeah. Plus.
Or no, just around.
Okay. All right, good. All right, good. So, but 2 here have not done one? Okay, great. So listen, I'm going to share a few things with you guys today. Pretty much how I go about getting a buyer rep agreement signed. The whole process, meeting people either from a phone call, an open house, okay? Any lead gen that you do, you might even door knock and all of a sudden these people are renters and they want to buy. And it's from that start right through to the finish, okay? And there's certain things that I do that maybe you don't do, and I really look at it as a clear advantage over a lot of the other agents that are out there. And what it does is it builds trust, faith, and it gains their loyalty. The first and most important thing that I tell my clients when I'm sitting with them, let me just kind of fast forward a bit, is that this is about them, it's never about me. Okay? You can brand yourself, you can do whatever you want to do in this business, that's great, it's all the power to you. But for me, it is always about the people that are out there. Okay? The buyer consultation, getting this thing signed, where am I? I'm going to go that way. There she is. First impressions, right? Takes 21 days to develop a habit, correct? But with respect to first impressions, you have 7 seconds. So whether you're on the phone, your tonality, right? You really only have 7 seconds. People walk into an open house, how you're dressed, you know, in the middle of winter, it's 3:30 in the afternoon, and you've had a little 10-minute nap on the couch, right? You hear that door knock, you better shake it off and get up and smile and right at the door and present yourself in a welcoming, come from contribution manner. And those first 7 seconds are going to make a huge impression on how people will communicate and see you in their life, right? So, if you know me at the office, I'm usually coming in, I don't wear one of these, and I mentioned before that I've been in this business for 23 freaking years. Listen, I apologize. I play a lot of hockey and profanities fly like you wouldn't believe. It's like Kramer at the dentist, right? So for me, it's when I'm casual, right? When I meet clients for the first time, I'm dressed. I don't wear ties. I've got a beard, obviously, so I challenge a little bit, but I am just me. I am mine. That's it. I control who I am, but I want to make sure that people know that I'm a professional first and foremost. Okay. Listen, you do you. That's fine. But I prefer to be that guy than that guy. The one thing I do like is that he's got the red cape on, so he's still very confident. Pre-1995, everybody's familiar that before 1995 we all worked as sub-agents, right? We all worked on behalf of the sellers. So whatever our buyers told us what they wanted to do with respect to buying a home, what they wanted to offer in terms of price, motivation, timing. We were obligated to share it with the sellers. Did we actually do that? Not really, but there was a gray area with that, with respect to that. So we did get paid by the sellers. We always get paid by the sellers, most of the time, anyway, 99.9% of the time. But January 1995, our industry wanted to really define buyer agency, and I think it was brilliant. It really professionalized the real estate industry, especially on the buying side. So that's pretty much that. Just wanted to ask you guys a question. Do you guys know your conversion rates? Do you know that, every time you meet with a buyer and you have an actual sit down, do you know when you sit down, you've presented a buyer rep agreement, do you know how many times out of 10 you're getting these things signed? Yeah? Okay. That's very important because that's part of your business plan. Welcome, thank you for coming. And that is something that you really have to integrate into your everyday approach to this. When the market turned last year, I turned with it, and my focus became selling because the buying side of it was just ridiculous. We're competing with absolutely everybody and anybody. So more door knocking, more warm calling, I call it. And my focus changed that way because you have to stay engaged in this industry and you have to stay engaged in the market as well, and you have to make money, right? So for me, your goal, if you choose it, is to meet, greet, impress, and the most important thing is to de-stress the whole buyer process, okay? These people are running around. Initially, if they haven't signed with an agent, they're running with their heads cut off like chickens. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, they're more sophisticated now, they're online. But one of the things that I always tell these customers out there, that, and one of the questions is, how are you going about finding the homes that you're looking at right now? And typically they say realtor.ca, right? Or an agent's website, right? And typically it's realtor.ca because they have that pushback, right? And for me the response is, great, how's that working out for you? Right? And they'll say, I've been looking, how long have you been looking? It's been 3 months now, right? Have you missed out on any opportunities that you really came across and really fell in love with? Yes. And for me, that's a big trigger. That is the ultimate, you're not doing it right. And I want to pull you in, sit down with you, and show you how we can go through this and get it done so that you don't miss that phenomenal opportunity. Because what happens when they miss that home, especially last year in the March Madness, they missed out on that great, fantastic home. If it went for $700,000 and they're priced out at pre-approval at $700,000, you're not going to get that house anymore. That's it. So they got to now compromise based on their expectations, right? It's that whole balance. You're engaging your customers in an open house, sign calls, internet leads. How are you? What's your dialogue? What's your language with them, right? What's your approach? Language of sales, has anybody taken language of sales online with Joe Rico? No? Okay. 23 years in this business. I've got 2 big binders. These are my Bibles, or whatever you want, if you're not religious. But everything in here is accumulation of 4 language of sales classes, all the education that I've had with KW. So I've been 23 years in this business, and I've accumulated all this stuff since 2009 when I joined KW. Before that, I was with Royal LePage, your community, fantastic brokerage with Vivian Reese. She's great, but I'm telling you, KW, maybe if you have agents here that work for them, they're phenomenal with this stuff. It's incredible. I've got stuff, with approach, with dialogue, with language of sales, is something that I taught at my old office. Your upswings, your downswings, your tonality, your embedded commands, your tie downs. There is so much language that you could learn in this business. Most important thing with scripting is that after all this time, you embed it into your mind and your soul and let it become you. okay? You convert it to who you are, all right? So when you go out there and you're in an open house and you know the script already, you're not going off the script, you're going off how you are. That's the most important thing, okay? Since 2015, when I've been on my own, I've utilized all of these languages, all of these tonalities, all these commands, and I'm a soft approach guy, all right? I'm not a hardcore, I'm not in your face kind of thing. When I go to Banana Republic factory outlet, the stockyards, because I don't do retail, I just don't do it. My wife freaks out at me all the time. You know, typically someone comes up to you and they say, can I help you? I'm like, I'll tell you what, when I find something, I'm gonna come back to you, right? That's it. But let me look, right? So an hour and a half later, I finally go back to them if they're still on their shift. And they're there. But that's it, that's the approach, right? When you're doing even in an open house and you're asking some questions, just shut up, listen. You're in control when you ask questions and then you just listen. Because when you look at them, and look at them both, right? Both buyers, not just the guy, not just the woman, look at both of them back and forth and make sure that they see that you're engaging them. You're still in control. How are we doing so far?
Good.
Good? Okay. Good. I want to ask you guys a question. What are some of the big objections that you're dealing with at an open house, during a buyer consultation? What are some of the things that have prevented buyers from signing a buyer rep agreement with you? Anyone have any experiences?
Yeah. We're not sure what we want to do just yet, so we're not signing with anyone at the moment.
Right. Okay. So there's a classic buyer rejection in that. I have that right in my.
Oh yes, you do.
So that's great. Can I ask you, when are you? What's the time frame for buying a home? Are you 1 to 3 months? Are you?
Well, we don't know. We're kind of just, checking out what's going on in the neighborhood.
What's going on in the neighborhood? That's fantastic. Good. So you're you're educating yourself as to what values are like, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you own your own home right now?
No.
No. Okay. So you're renting right now, right?
Yeah.
And how long's the lease? When are you guys looking to make it?
It's up July 1st.
July 1st. So that could be a target date for you, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. Great. So let me ask you a question. If the right home came up in May, which is 2 months away, had everything that you were looking for, would you be in a position to buy it?
I think so.
Yeah? Okay, so you've been pre-approved, you've got a mortgage pre-approved. Have you met with a mortgage broker?
That's sort of more my husband's domain, but I'm pretty sure that we're pre-approved. I'd have to confirm on that.
Okay, great. So we'll check on that as well. And have you guys met with a realtor? Has any realtor actually asked you to sit down and meet with them for about 30 minutes?
Yeah, a couple other realtors at open houses have.
They have, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. And you haven't done that?
No.
Right, okay. So you're really you're shopping around, right?
Yeah.
You're just trying to find that right fit?
Yep.
So it's not just a home, it's an agent.
I think so.
Okay, great. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. I really love meeting with people like yourself, right? You and your husband. And all it is just 30 minutes. And all I want to do is get a real good understanding of what you're looking for in your next home.
Okay.
All right? And it gives me an opportunity to get a true understanding of what it is, your wants and needs. And it also allows me to share with you a few ideas on how you can go about getting the home that you want in the time that you want. And I just want to really emphasize the fact that this is just about you and not about me. I'm just here to assist you.
Okay.
Right? And now the most important thing is there's no obligation here. We can spend 30 minutes, you can share what you want, I can share the ideas that I have that can help you. And then you know what, moving forward, if I'm not the person, then at least you're taking something with you moving forward. How does that sound?
That sounds really fair.
Right? Okay, good. Do you mind, we're at an open house, do you mind, your husband's not here, right?
No. Yeah.
Okay, I thought maybe he was in the car and he didn't want to come in. Do you mind if I give you a call on
Do you want it
Monday?
to be?
Do you mind if I give you a call Monday?
Oh, no, yeah, you can give me a
Yeah?
Monday.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Now, you gave me your phone number and your email address. They're all
Yeah,
there. Okay,
That's
great.
fine,
So I'll give you a call Monday.
that's great.
So that's a soft close, no big deal, right? And then, and you're just having a very, very just, but I'm picking at what's important, time frame, right? She's actually been asked by other agents to actually sit down. And typically in my situation, I've never had that. I've never had buyers actually respond and say, no, yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, right, so.
So smooth.
That was good, that was good. Okay, so the approach is very, very key. So language of sales course, if you want to look into it, I'm pretty sure Joe Rico's still doing it. He's phenomenal. I think it was $400 when I did it. It's about 16 weeks. You're going to learn so much. It's incredible. I've done it 4 times. I've done gold a couple of times. 2009, I decided that, you know what, I'm going to change my life because I was working with a team and I was their buyer specialist, and I worked with 2 teams that were top 5 in Canada, Royal LePage and Keller Williams. No, they weren't top 5, they were top 25, sorry. Because we have a lot of very good teams in Keller Williams. So I decided to take the accredited buyer representative course with Adorna Carroll. Adorna Carroll is my queen. She is unbelievable. She's a strong, determined woman. I have her on Facebook. She still remembers me because of some of the questions I asked her. We really got along really well, but she was my awakening and really converted me into growing as a realtor in this business. Before that, I had my license, but I did everything else except real estate. Contracting, tile work, painting company, and I finally took it serious. So if you want to get really good at this, and you really want to know how to deal with buyers, buyer consultation, language of sales, those are 2 things that I recommend. Scripting and dialogue, I know Trish was doing something here. I don't know what happened with that, something that I would love to do here. And it's phenomenal because you learn your scripts, and you get better at what and how you speak and how you communicate with people out there. How do you handle buyer objections, right? So tonality, match and mirror. I only want to work with the listing agent. Wow, how's that been working for you, right? You understand there are 2 things that happen here, right? Number 1, that the listing agent works only for the seller, that they negotiate on their behalf, and what they're negotiating is to get the seller the highest and best price for their largest investment, right? And nobody is negotiating on your behalf, correct? Right? So I'm always closing with a tie down or better commands, right? The second thing is that all the time and energy that you're spending chasing these listing agents around, right? Missing out on fantastic opportunities. You know, what a listing agent can tell you, I'm going to tell you as well. And I'm going to actually give you better information than a listing agent will, because the listing agent's only working for that seller, right? So I'm going to give you information like what comparable properties for that house sold for in the neighborhood, right? What the buyers bought the house for, when they did buy it. Don't you feel that those are 2 things that you would want to have on your side? Ethan? Yeah? Okay, great. Well, you know, Ethan, you know what I like to do? I like to meet with people like yourself for 30 minutes, just 30 minutes of your time, get a real true understanding of what you're looking for. You see how I always use the same close? You don't need 10 different closes. You just need to master the 1 close and make it a soft close, a hard close, whatever you want to do, right? Know your conversion rates, appointments. People believe you, they trust you when you're you, right? So I'm me now. I beard, I suit, I don't script anymore. How many times do you get a phone call? Like I've gotten rid of my home phone. I don't have it anymore. And my cell phone is very, very close to getting thrown against the wall. And it's duct cleaning right now at the moment, right? That's what I'm getting a lot of. And I need it. I need the duct cleaning. I don't need it right now, right? And do you hang up on these people? Do you tell them no right away? Like, you know, hi, it's Rogers, whatever. How long do you stay on the phone with a marketer before you cut them off?
Not very long.
Usually they get in a hello and I can tell it's not what I want to hang
Yeah.
up.
So let's say average 10 to 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds,
Not even.
because they don't breathe, right? They literally, hi, my name is Frank Caetano, I'm from Keller Williams Neighborhood Realty. You know what, I just saw that house sold down the street, and you can't even say anything,
No.
right? Right, okay. Well, this is what I do. Let them speak. I don't care. I've had Jehovah's Witnesses come to my house, knock on the door, and they've walked away. It's okay, because I look at it as an opportunity for me to script back, dialogue back to them, right? It's just, it's practicing. For me, it's practicing, right? So I get a marketer on the phone, they start talking. A minute later, they finally breathe, and I say, you know what? I tried to say something to you, and you didn't hear me at all. I said, so moving forward, listen, I'm not going to buy or anything that you're offering. I said, but moving forward, listen, next time you make a phone call, maybe pause for a minute, like just try to hear something from other people. If they say no, move on, just go on. We do it every day. We get on the phone, we call homeowners, and I'm in Corso Italia. I get Italians on the phone, Portuguese. I mean, I'm Portuguese myself. I don't speak much of it anymore, but I understand it, and I can go with it. I can even go with Italian most of the time. But I get a guy constantly every 4 months, by the time they either door knock or call him back, and it's the same response. Hello, Mr. Caetano, it's Frank Caetano from Keller Williams Neighborhood. I just wanted to, I got a buyer, a family that's looking to buy. But who are you? Frank, get out of here, bang. Just down the phone. I don't even get a chance to say bye. I'll see you in 3 months, right? So that's it. Keep trying, but listen to people, right? How do you ask for the appointment? This is good. Well, ask not for a 1-minute summary of what they want. Receive, you will, a 30 to 90-minute sit-down consultation, right? That's your one. So, how many times you're at an open house, right? You get the lady come in, the guy come in. Yeah, I'm just, right? And they've signed in. They walk through the house. You ask them to come back for feedback, right? They come back down. And you get the, yeah, you know what? I'm looking for, maybe you could send me some stuff. I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-story, I want it right, and they give you the whole 3-minute spiel of what they want, right? And I've got about 5 other people in the house, and I'm hoping that I could have a conversation with just one that I want to meet and greet and do the consultation with. This person is not someone that I'm going to do that with. And I don't want to, I hate to say it because I don't waste time with anyone, but I just don't want to waste her time or his time, right? Because they're not an A client or potential A client. They're a C, right? So they're basically telling you, why don't you send me stuff like other realtors do, right? Again, well, how's that working out for you? Well, I get a lot of stuff online. So you have the time to look at all that stuff. You find that you're getting a lot of listings that really don't meet the criteria that you're looking for, right? Again, so I'm dealing with the objection, right? Yeah, I get a lot of stuff and they're not great, right? So, another realtor, I asked them to send it to me. I said, are you aware that every agent in the city has the same access to all these listings that I would, right? So when you go from open house to open house, and you ask one realtor and then the next realtor, they're all going to send you the same stuff. I said, I do things a little different. Yeah, but maybe, you can maybe find a house in the neighborhood that no one else knows about, and you can call me on it, right? I said, I'd love to do that, but you know what? I've got buyers that have actually hired me, right, to find them a home exclusively, right? So when that opportunity comes up, I'm going to show them the house first. I said, they've hired me for that. They're actually under contract with me. The best part is, they don't actually pay me a penny. I get paid by the seller, right? So, and then I keep going. But I got to cut it off at some point. I can't keep going on. And then they say, well, I gave you my information. I said, you know what, I'll take it. You know what, I'm going to put you on my automatic email system. And who knows, maybe 3 years from now, she might actually call me, or he might call me, right? Sorry. Okay. Too afraid to ask because you know their answer, right? So how many buyers do you deal with a year? Natalie?
I don't do a lot of buying.
No. More listings?
Yeah.
Okay. How about you guys?
I do like 70/30, 70
Yeah.
listing, 30.
30 buyers. So you've got the family there. So out of those, out of the 30%, how many do you get down? These are all people that have signed up,
A
right?
lot of, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So instinct tells you that they want and need help, right? We all go in, we all shop out, we go shopping, right? And as I said before, I go into Banana Republic Factory Outlet, somebody asks me, my reaction, no, I'm okay right now, I'm just looking. Buyers walk into an open house, right? They go on to Sync or Boomtown, whatever lead gen site you're using. You give them a call, I have scripts for that too. Oh God, how many years I did that. You know, hi, it's Frank Caetano from Keller Williams Neighborhood. I noticed you came onto our website, you're looking at a particular home in Corso Italia. Have you had an opportunity to look at that house? No, I'm just looking, right? Okay, are you working with a realtor? No, not right now, I'm just online. I'm just looking through these websites. Great, what are you looking to buy? You know, what's your timing like, right? Have you been pre-approved for a mortgage? Do you have a house to sell? 6 questions, right? And we'll go through them. So just change the way you look at things, right? Somebody comes in an open house and they say, I'm just looking, dig deeper. Just ask some questions, right? And those questions, is pretty much what you're looking to discover. And this is at an open house, right? Or a phone call. Or somebody calls you on a sign off your listing, right? Timing, are they 1 to 3 months, or are they longer? Motivation, why do they want to move? Do they want to upsize to a 3 from a 2? Are they in a condo? Are they downsizing? Right? Do they have an agent? That's very important, because if they have an agent, then that changes everything. Now when you ask them if they're working with a realtor, and they say yes, do you ask anything deeper than that?
Sometimes I ask if they have a contract.
Absolutely, yeah. So you're under contract, right? Because most of the time they're working with an agent not under contract, right? Are you guys running around with buyers without a red cape, without a contract? No?
well,
Some-
you know, if it's a past client,
Yes, thank you.
maybe, yes, typically, just
Yeah.
because you sort of know that you for sure have their loyalty.
Yep,
But new people, I get signed up right
Absolutely.
away.
absolutely. Yeah, Natalie?
Um,
You date? You do dating?
well, if they're friends of mine, I usually wait, then we do an offer and then I have the representation. And I just I don't trust them, but if I don't know them, or even if it's like, I had a tenant of mine at one, and I found a place for them, but I had them sign it, because when you go to the meeting, it's easy to have it signed if you have a proper meeting. Sometimes you don't have a meeting and you just go and do it.
Yep. So, referrals I sign up because they're coming from past clients. The past clients, absolutely, they're like, I actually get the buyer agreement signed after the offer. It's just not, right? I just had one done last week, and they're my daughter's soccer coach, and they actually signed literally the day the offer was accepted. I sent them the buyer agreement 5 minutes later. You need to sign this, right?
Frank, if I can, just really quickly, I had a situation recently that was this close to going the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
Clients that I've been worked with in the past and then had been working with over the last couple of years, it had kind of slowed down because the woman was elderly and she needs to have surgery, and they thought, okay, well, whatever. Well, then they ended up going into a condo, to an open house, and it's a senior's residence, Hearthstone. Okay, and they were under the assumption that the listing agent of the condo was the one that you had to deal with in the building. So off they book a few more appointments to see it with her. and it comes to the point where they want to make an offer,
Yeah.
and one of the two siblings that was helping the parents said, wait a minute, why isn't Courtney here with us? Like,
Yeah.
where's she? And they said, oh, and so they called me and they said, do we have to work with that agent? I'm like, no,
Yeah, yeah.
what are you doing? You know, and I didn't have it signed because
Yeah.
we had the relationship.
Yeah.
Well, then
Oh.
didn't we did go ahead and the next day and literally buy that condo, and I felt terrible. I had to call that agent and say, I'm sorry, but you won't be bringing that offer
Yeah.
to yourself.
Yeah.
I will, because they're my clients.
Absolutely.
And it was an uncomfortable position to have to say that to her, but at the same time, these things happen. But it just goes to show you that even when you believe you have loyalty to people, if you don't educate them properly, then they don't know. And it wasn't that they weren't educated, they were just under the assumption somehow, some way, because when they first went into the building,
She could have given them that idea
gave them
too.
that woman's card, and said, this is who you want to deal with.
Yeah.
So that's why they thought they had to deal with her. So just, again, you always want to be sure that you're talking to your clients and that they know,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to like new construction.
Yeah, I was gonna say about
Seniors
those.
especially, right? When's the last time they actually bought and sold, right? They've been in
Yeah.
their house for 40, 50 years.
Oh, 35 years she's in her house.
Right?
Yeah.
I love seniors. You know, you think of who you connect with the most,
Yeah.
and I'm 51, and I think I'm a young 51, I hope I am anyway. But I love seniors. They're, you know, once you develop trust with them, they are loyal to you
Yeah.
to a fault. Like they're just incredible. I had a door knock 3 years when I started at Neighborhood.
Mhm.
One of my first door knocks, and she had an agent that lived down the street from her. And we talked, we really had a conversation outside the house for a half hour. And I didn't know, you know, because she kept saying, you know, this agent's been coming around for 3 months, and he keeps telling me that, you know, I gotta stage the house and do this and that. I said, you know what, I haven't seen your home. I said, then I'd love to see it when you're ready, or before you're ready, actually. And I'll share a few ideas with you and how to go about it. Not all houses need to be staged, right? Anyway, 2.5 years later, and I kept on her, like, but very soft emails, hi, how are you? The next year, so every 4 months, brought her nice little gifts at Christmas, right? 2.5 years later, and I touched her, and I don't mean physically, but I touched her in her business. It's different. About 2 months before that, and she called me and she said, Frank, I'm retired now, I'm ready to go. I actually referred her to a KW agent out in Hamilton, because that's where she was looking. That didn't work out. Came back to me, and he didn't sign her. I ended up selling her a condo up in Barrie, literally a week after. I said, listen, enough, let me take control back here. And I didn't say it that way, but you know, let me come back in the picture. Sold her a condo up in Barrie that she absolutely loved, only 2 minutes away from her daughter. So the whole focus thing was a big deal, right? And then I had about 2 weeks to get her house ready, right on Blackthorn. And she said, I gotta hire a contractor. And I've got 5 different contractors. I said, tell me what you wanna do. You know, paint this, that. I said, what are you doing? She says, I'm gonna go to Montreal for a week. I said, go, give me the key. I said, you're not hiring a contractor, I'll do this stuff. And it's because I used to do it, right? So I took a week, painted, redid her furniture. She came back, sold the house for asking price, first day. And I didn't think we were gonna get that much. And I got a nice little card. Seniors are incredible, right? They really are. I love those people. So,
I know this is a little off topic, but what do you, when you stop by with like little gifts, or what do you give people?
my wife works at Nestle, so I get chocolate like, I get it for nothing.
Nestle.
Because it's just a thought that counts, just like
That's
something,
it, like
right?
it's just small
Yeah.
stuff, right? So if I got a couple and, you know, I've been to their house and I see a big wine rack, so I'm gonna go get a nice Mossy or something, right? So get conversation, you engage what they love. She was a big chocolate lover.
Mhm.
So this basket, like, I swear, they, you know, they kiss me. This is for my wife, like, it's what she does, right? But they just appreciate that stuff, right? I really went off topic, sorry guys. We were talking about seniors, we were talking about,
That's fine.
Something like that, yeah. Sorry.
Okay. I did take a selfie. You can blame me.
No, even my wife, you know, I can't hear under this right here from battling cancer a few years ago. And you know, I'll be downstairs on the couch, and my daughter and my wife will be upstairs in the bedroom, just chatting. And all of a sudden, what? And then all I hear is, you can't hear other things, but you can hear from like 3 miles away. Right? So my mindset's that way. Anyway, do they have an agent? Do they have a home to sell? Very soft, right? You come to my open house. Ethan, what do you think of the house?
It's good.
Good,
It's
good,
nice.
great. Are you looking in the neighborhood?
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. Now, do you have a home to sell as well? Or?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, when are you looking to buy? Like, is it 3 months or
Possibly in beginning of summer.
beginning of summer? Okay, great. And you want to stay in the neighborhood, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is it, you want a bigger house or
A little bit
a
bigger.
little bit bigger? Any families for us?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And do you need a mortgage or?
It's been pre-approved, yes.
Pre-approved, fantastic, great. So if the perfect house came up, if this is the perfect house came up today, are you prepared to buy it, or do you want to wait till July?
I want to wait until
Okay.
summer.
As you know, I mean, I don't know if you're aware, but typically home sales, buying and moving in, closing on a home typically takes 3 to 4 months. So right now we're in March, right?
Right.
So by the time, you know, you bought and you closed and moved in, it would be around June. Right?
That's
So
true.
just kind of a preparation thing.
That's a good point.
Right? So then you go into, you know what? Have you met with an agent? Are you working with anyone? No? Okay. So you go into the close, right? Soft close.
Can I interject for a second?
Sure.
Your spiel earlier regarding when you were talking to Courtney, when you were role playing with Courtney, you said that maybe we could sit down for half an hour and I could give you some ideas.
Yep.
Like what are those ideas?
They're coming up.
Good segue.
Yeah. So the important thing too is that your buyer consultation could take 30 minutes or they can take 2 hours, right? And it all depends on them, right? But I close with 30 minutes because I don't want them thinking that it's going to be 2 hours, right? Based on their disc profile, whether they're analytical, very expressive, right? And they can tell you what kind of home they want in like an hour, right? What hardwood floors, I want them cherry wood. You know, a basement, I want a walkout, I want a stained glass window in the living room, you know, and they go on and on and on. And so, how long you been looking? Are you looking to buy, move in 3 months, longer? Is there someone helping you find your home? Yes, great. So you're under contract with that agent? Yes or no, right? If they say yes, okay, so you met, discussed all your criteria, thank them, and move on. Like literally, thank you very much, appreciate it. Listen, good luck with that agent. You know, there's really not much interference you can have with them. Here's my card, right? If you need any advice or help in the future after that relationship is ended, if it doesn't work out, please, I'd be more than happy to help you, right? If no, then you can proceed with these questions, right? How long have you been searching for homes? Have you seen anything you love, missed an opportunity? This is really important. This is a real good tie down, right? Have you missed a home? Has there been an opportunity that you really missed out on? If they had, then you know you can go into a whole dialogue of, you know, unfortunately, you know that home what it sold for, you know, that next home that became the market, right? I always say that it became the market. So it sold for $750, right? The next home that's similar to that is going to sell higher, unfortunately. What are you pre-approved for, right? So you're going to have to either, you know, lower your expectations or raise your budget, right? How are you searching for homes? Are you doing it online? Have you seen anything you love? Missed an opportunity? Have you spoken with a mortgage broker, pre-approved? Does everybody have a toolbox? Okay. So a toolbox doesn't have to be, but it's your filing cap. You know, it's this is part of my toolbox, right? So you have a home inspector, right? You have lawyers, you have mortgage brokers that you can count on. And when I talk about these people, these are people that you are relying on that have consistently helped you close deals, okay? So if I'm on the phone with a customer, buyer customer, that says, have you met with a mortgage broker yet? Or they come into an open house and they say no. I said, listen, what have you done? Have you gone they've gone to their bank, they got a 2-minute, yeah, you know what, don't worry about it. I'm looking at your account, you got like, you know, $200,000 in there, you're gonna be pre-approved, no problem. That's not a pre-approval, right? So, you know, you distinguish between what a bank does and what a mortgage broker does, right? So listen, do you mind if I get my mortgage broker to give you a call? You know, they'll just ask you some questions, kind of get you prepared, right? Typically they'll say yes, right? And then all of a sudden, now you got a tool out of your toolbox, bringing that client customer closer and closer to that meeting, that sit down, right? Very important. Always have great tools in your toolbox. If the right home came to market, could you buy it today? Very important, right? So if you're wandering around, we haven't found anything that we really like yet. Well, if something came up that you really liked, would you buy it? Yeah. Well, what is it that you really like, right? Don't ask for that whole breakdown at the open house on the phone. You'll never get them to sit down. It's never going to happen. I guarantee you, if it has, all the power to you. You should be up here. But I'm telling you, it's never, ever happened for me, and I refuse to. If someone starts breaking down, I want this, I literally say, listen, I'm sorry, I have to stop you there. I said, the reason why I'm going to stop you there is because, you know what, wouldn't you agree? So wouldn't you agree as a medic command, wouldn't you agree that this is the largest investment of your life? Right? Do you think it's fair that me getting an assessment of what you want in 2 minutes, you think I'm going to do a great service for finding you the home that you want to buy? No, right? So, then you go into your soft close, right? Where's it close? You definitely want to be prepared if that home comes to market, right? You know, buying a home is a pretty big investment in your life, wouldn't you agree? And you've not had a buyer wants needs analysis, yes, correct? Okay, wow. And I was, wow, that's incredible. I can't believe there's not one agent out there that has actually asked you for a sit-down meeting, right? So I'm apologizing for the rest of the agents that haven't done it yet. It's a little kicker, it really is. You know, I make sure my buyers are well prepared before they even go look at homes, because the worst thing you're going to do is go show a home, you haven't asked any pre-qualifying questions, all of a sudden they fall in love with something, and then you got to go through the whole process. I guarantee you, in this market, and especially in March Madness last year, there's absolutely no way they're going to buy that house. I just dealt with very close friends of mine, my daughter's soccer coach. They told me 2 months ago they'd be ready in April, right? I said, okay. I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put you on my system. I'm going to get you to collaborate as well, sorry. So I put them on MLS a month and a half ago. I put them on Collaborate, and she is intense, right? Just intense, and I love it. I love it. Every day I get a comment about something, right? It's fantastic. So she's collaborating back with me, and that is something that's really important that you should be doing. We'll go through that as well. So April was supposed to be the time frame that the mortgage broker told them that they would get pre-approved, right? Don't believe everything that everybody says. So come March 15th, houses start popping up in Keswick that she's like just blown away by, right? In their price range that the mortgage brokers kind of said it'll work. So let's go look at them. Or I haven't met the mortgage broker, he's not in my toolbox, but they know him very well, so I trust them. 40-minute drive up to Keswick, show them 3 townhouses, they want to put an offer right away. I didn't think this was going to happen. I thought for sure April would come and we'd look at about 50 homes because she's meticulous, right? They want to buy that one. We put an offer in, agent calls me, 2 other offers are coming in and 1 is from the agent as well. Fine. We lost the house by $500. And why did we lose the house by $500? Because these are first-time buyers, my clients, right? And we discussed a review of the offer, situation and conditions, and I'll go through that as well. And I emphasized that the condition on financing must stay in. I don't know this mortgage broker, I haven't had a personal conversation with him, so I'm not going to remove it. Do they want to do a home inspection? I'm not going to tell people to not do it. I can advise them and say how it could benefit them come multiple offer. It's up to them to make that choice, right? It's another thing that we'll discuss. Anyway, they kept both conditions in. They lost by $500 because the other offer was actually conditional on due diligence. So there you go. Lesson learned, but that's okay. Sometimes it happens, right? A week later, still before April, a semi comes out. This was a townhouse that they lost out on. You know, the best thing about doing these things and failing sometimes is that you get education involved, and all of a sudden the next time they're prepared. And now they see a semi instead of a townhouse for $10,000 more. Much nicer, right? And the opportunity's there. Literally came out an hour before on MLS. She calls me, and I said, let's get the hell up there, right? Offer in hand, signed at the house, and we were competing with the listing agent again, right? You know what, Frank, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna go sign an offer. Almost telling me like I shouldn't even bring an offer, right? I said, really, eh? I said, okay, I have my offer ready, right? I'm gonna go get my son. She says, well, can you send it to me by 3 o'clock? Because I gotta go meet him up in Collingwood, the seller. I said, yeah. And I just ignore this stuff, right? Because now she's telling me that I'm gonna email it to the one that I'm competing with, right? Yeah, put me in that position. 6 o'clock came, and she's calling me, and I get my people to sign it. They signed it at 5, actually. I said, what are you doing? She says, well, we can't present it. She says, I can't even meet him. I said, great, that's what I wanted to hear. I said, so I'm gonna send you my offer. You send, what are we doing? Are we doing any sign backs? I mean, any, go back and improve? She says, well, I would think you'd want to do that. I said, okay. I called my people. I said, listen, what did you lose that other house by? Great. I said, you want to lose this house? They said, no. We're competing with one person. I said, I'm not going to do this 1%, 1.5%, 2% formula here. I said, I don't think we have to do that up in Keswick. I said, give me an extra $5,000 on the list price. Let's go $550. I said, that's what you're maxed out on your pre-approval, right? She said, yeah. I said, we don't have to do a home inspection. The house is completely renovated. I've gone through all mechanical stuff. I don't look at bathrooms. I don't look at aesthetics. I just don't do that. Again, that's part of my consultation. I'll go through that with you. So, they ended up getting it, $550, right? 5-day condition on financing, with the 5-day condition competing. And they got their financing the next year. Wow. So, anyway.
Frank, in that situation, did you not ask her that they had a collateral agreement in place?
You know what, he did. Oh, no, the previous agent did. The one the week before, he actually told me. And you're obligated to disclose that, right? And what
If
the
you
commitment-
would.
A collateral agreement, so if you have a buyer for your listing, then often you...
Yeah. So he called me, the agent, the week before and said, listen, we have an offer from our own buyer, and they were a team of 2. And the collateral agreement is a 1% reduction. He didn't get it. There was a third agent that got it. That'd be good. So there's my soft close that I've been talking about through the whole seminar, right? Okay. So that's something that has come from this, right? Words are never used in the close, right? We're coming up to Easter Friday, Easter weekend, right? And I spent 5.5 hours watching that stupid movie that the former head of the NRA is Moses, Charlton Heston. You know, thou shalt not use the word no, or I disagree, competitive, it's a good deal. That's strange because we can't do that, not possible, that's our best deal, no way, we won't, and WTF, right? Never smart. Okay. Never stay negative. Never go negative, sorry. Always be positive. What's another word you never use? But, right? How hard is it to not use but, right? You know, and you go through a sentence and you're like, and, this just doesn't make sense. Anyway, call and set and meet the appointment, meet and prepare. So you've done the soft close, they've agreed to it. Courtney has agreed to meet with me, Ethan's agreed to meet with me. You can meet at the office here, all professional. I prefer to meet them at their place. I want it convenient for them, I really do. And I want to know how they live. All right, so I want to know how they're currently living. Are they renting their home? Especially if they have a home to sell, I may end up doing a two for one that night. So a listing and a buying, and I've done that. And most important, when I walk into their house and it's the hellos and everything, I start looking at the house and I start having that chatter, you know, that dialogue that you want going, that starts building trust and loyalty. So, again, you're asking about pre-approval, email, short version of the buyer guide. Does everyone have a buyer guide here? mykw.com, technology, marketing. There are buyer guides and there are listing guides there. It's up to you to go in there and hit the edit button, and I'll show you mine, okay? Know your shit or stuff. You asked them what neighborhood, right, during the open house phone call. So you have some information, right? So I farm close to Italia, my neighborhood, Dufferin and St. Clair, right through to Caledonia, and then Weston Pelham I do as well, and Caledonia Fairbank. I know those neighborhoods extremely well. I know what houses sell for. I know what the majority of the homes look like. I know that 95% of the homes have basement, non-conforming, non-retrofit basement apartments, right? So when I set up the meeting and I'm preparing, I have an MLS map, right? You can pull it off of your MLS. You can pull it off on sections and then tape it together, photocopy it, and then make it 11 by 17. You could focus in on the neighborhoods that they mentioned in the initial open house or phone call, right? So if they said, you know what, I really like this, you like Corso Italia, you know, yeah, and you know, I got friends up at Dufferin and Eglinton. Okay, so you'd go a little north, so that's Caledonia Fairbank and you know, Belgrade there. Great, so now I'm pulling out that map because when I go and sit down with them, that's the first thing I show them. I say, do me a favor, while I'm getting all my stuff ready, can you look at this and tell me exactly where you want to be, right, where you want to buy? Right? My buyer guide's with me, right? And then I get in my car. The meeting's at 7 o'clock, right? I get dressed, right? I make sure that, listen, this suit here, my mother-in-law, thank her lovely soul, she works with Janor, and their men's, what do they call that?
Taylor.
No, they're you know, they have like stuff that they,
Ready to wear.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's all 5'9", 175 pounds. It's my size, right? So it's fantastic. Suits, get a suit. Just buy one if you need one, and then as you move on. Habits to success. I wake up in the morning, I know I have an appointment, I take all distractions out. Phone's off, right? When I get in my car, the radio's not on. All I'm thinking about is what I'm going to talk about. I'm going through my objection handlers. Anything that might come up that's come up in 23 years of real estate. What's my face going to look like? Smiling. Focus. Look at both of them. If you look at one of the buyers and you don't pay attention to the other one, you might as well walk out the door. You're not going to get this thing signed. All right? That person, once it's done, and they'll tell you, we'll review the buyer rep agreement and we'll let you know. Once you walk out that door, whoever you ignored is going to say, I don't like this person. And you're done. I've seen it happen too many times. Okay, how about an objection handler? We only want to work with the listing agent. I have these guys, if you guys want any of this stuff, give me your business card, and I'll send you a whole bunch of stuff. If you want this book, I'll give you this book.
Oh, sorry, yeah, this is a good one, because people are like, I wanna get a deal on a
Yeah, the
place.
commission.
Yeah.
I love that one. Go ahead.
Is there any way to enlarge though?
You know what, I think so.
I can't read it either.
And I mean, I guess like, you know, listing even as a listing agent, you can be guilty of being like, well, you know, you can tell, do you know what I mean? Like, you can tell people, you know, well, you know, this place is for sale, do you have an agent? If they say no, sometimes you'll be like, well, you probably have a good chance if you wanna put an offer in on the place, but then you're contradicting if you're trying to be a buyer agent.
Such contradiction. How many times I've, you know, and so.
And I struggle.
So, after all of this, there are ways to get around it, right? And you gotta be able to deal with these objection letters. So it's about commission, right? No, if we deal with the listing agent directly, I'm gonna save 2.5% commission.
Or,
We're gonna get a better deal.
yeah, get a better deal, yeah.
Great. Okay. You know what, Natalie? Has that happened to you yet?
No.
No. Okay. Have you discussed anything with the listing agent on the house that you loved and possibly putting an offer in yet?
No, I
No.
haven't.
Okay, so it hasn't happened yet. Right? Has there been a house that you really liked and you wanted to do something? No.
Not yet, because
Not
I'm
yet.
just kind of
Okay.
just checking it out.
Great. Okay. So here's the thing. You know, when it comes to buying a home, when it comes to selling a home, a seller interviews an agent to represent their highest and best interests. You know what I mean by that? So I'm going to put their house up for sale. I'm their listing agent. And the seller tells the listing agent, you have a duty to do what I want you to do. So you have to follow my instruction. Right? So my first instruction is that when you put a sign out, I'm going to pay you for it. I want to make sure that you bring me back the highest and best offer. That's the best price, cleanest conditions, right? The most reliable buyer, right? So I'm going to pay you for that, right? And you're not going to compromise my position, right? Okay, good. So you as a buyer want to deal with a listing agent, and the listing agent's been instructed to make sure that they get the highest and best price. So where is the benefit for you as a buyer? Do you think it's,
I want to get a deal, that's all.
you want to get a deal? Okay. Well, there's no deal to be had, right? Because the listing agent, two things, the listing agent is working on behalf of the seller. And the seller is only going to negotiate on behalf of, the listing agent is only going to negotiate on behalf of the seller, right? Okay. So there is no deal. If you're thinking commission, that maybe because there's only one agent involved, that he or she is going to cut their commission. Listen, when I sell a home, I have a written contract that's already stating the commission that's going to be paid, right? And I can tell you that the reason why the seller has hired me is because they value my ability to keep my own value in place, okay? And what I mean by that is that I'm not going to compromise my value, and I'm sure as hell not going to compromise my seller's value. So my seller has enough trust and loyalty in paying, in compensating me and trusting me to ensure that I get to the best sale, right? So that's already covered. Now that's a lot of jargon. But the real objection handler is very simple. The listing agent represents the interests of the seller, and that's just it.
Yeah, you should, the buyer should be number one.
Right.
And you can work out a deal for them still if you're a buyer agent. Like,
Absolutely.
it doesn't mean only if you, yeah, that's a good, it's just, yeah, that's like the main
It's
thing.
always,
that's
it's
always like-
all the time, right? All the time. So I always tell them, I say, you know what, I've been in this business for 23 years.
Well, right now it's so competitive too, it's a little easier to say like, you need a buyer agent in this environment, you'll have no chance.
So you know what I do?
Yeah.
I always go to professions, other professions, right? Has there ever been a time, and this is great, I love this because it's language, so has there ever been a time when you've seen a divorce case? And the soon-to-be, a divorce case pending, and the soon-to-be ex-wife and ex-husband hired the same lawyer to negotiate and mitigate the divorce. Have you ever seen that? No, right? Well, you know what? This is kind of like this time. This profession is the same thing. We hire two separate professionals to handle two separate parties here. That's just the way it works, right? That's the importance of the buyer rep agreement when it was established in 1995. And that's what I mean about professionalizing this industry. It really puts the emphasis on us as buyer agents, if you're working with a buyer, right? To emphasize that point, right? That this is as important as selling your home. It's actually, I would say, even more important, because typically buyers are buying bigger than what they actually have currently, right? So, when
I
you,
feel like the better quality clients are the ones who agree with having a buyer representation agreement. Some of them you might not even want to work with. If they feel like they'll get a deal, then maybe they'll come back to you, but I probably wouldn't be able to handle working with them anyways. If
Yeah.
they're like in that mindset, then
Yep.
they would probably be, it's a red flag.
Oh, I've dealt with people. Listen, I went to university to remove stigmas, stereotypes, you know, going through life before that time. It was important to me, culturally, diverse, everything. That's just who I am, right? So in our industry, there are certain stereotypes, unfortunately. Who do you want to work with? What type of people do you want to work with? Why can't I break through this culture, right? What is it? What is it that is so hard? So I'll give you an example, and I hope I don't
They
offend
didn't want you to go to university?
Sorry?
Sorry, what are you
For me, coming out of high school, going to university, obviously I wanted to teach. That was my main goal, but that didn't happen. I had a good close friend that told me to get into real estate, and I did. But the most important thing for me was, my education in university was African history, European history, political science, international relations. I took everything and anything. I hung out with philosopher kings that were there for 7 years and still hadn't graduated, right? Made me feel better. That's just the way it was, right? But the most important thing is that, you know, going through, as a kid and going through life up until that point, there's peers and pressures, and I wanted to go to university and remove all that stereotyping that was going on around me in the world, right? I just wanted to love everybody. And that's just the way I looked at it. And moving forward, I knew that that would help me in life, right? Not that I was a bad, horrible person. I just wanted to be better, right? I just wanted to be that person, right? So, in real estate, I found a really hard time dealing with East Indian culture. I don't know why. I just couldn't figure it out. And they would never deal with buyer agents. It just never happened. So I'll just give you a brief history. 2004 to 2008, I was with a top 5 team in your community at Royal LePage. So I was buyer specialist. There were only 10 of us. We'd sell 350 homes a year. And we sold a lot of friggin' homes, right? So we dealt with a lot of people. And then I dealt with a top 25 team at KW for another 6 years. So a lot of experience as a buyer specialist. That's it, that's all I did, right? But I couldn't figure out why I couldn't break through East Indian culture. And one day I took out an East Indian couple, and we're in an open house, I'm showing the house. And I decided to be bold. And I said, listen, do you mind, can we sit down? I said, can I ask you, how does real estate work back home? And they looked at me like they've never been asked this question,
It's
right?
a good question, actually.
And he said, they both looked at me and he said, you know what? We don't have middlemen. We don't have people like yourself. He said, we deal with everything by ourselves. And I had a big aha.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, I've dealt with 10 East Indian families. 4 of them are raving fans that have brought me more referrals. And it's just breaking down my wall, It wasn't them, it's just my wall.
So Fred, what did you do differently then, going forward with that? How did you,
I-
because you're still a middleman, I mean, you still,
Yeah, they
right?
improved my language. I worked on myself and how I spoke, how I communicated with them. I know, it seems weird, right? I'm telling you, a lot of this stuff didn't make sense to me at all. You know, the first time I did it with Joe Rico, 16 weeks, $400, I'm like, oh shit. Second time I did it, it started to make sense. And even we had homework, right? You have to write 50 sentences and embedded commands. I kind of know what, yeah, I get through 10. Everybody do their homework? Ah, yeah, sure. So by the fourth time I did it, I had 60 sentences of each. I just did it. And it's in here somewhere. But that's all I did. I just changed the way I look at things, and things started to change for me. You know, I've got, you know, Gazelle and Daniel. I've got, God, Kushbu and Manoush. My God, like, these people are incredible human beings, right? And it just, that one moment, that one question changed everything for me. So as soon as they said, we don't have you as our middleman, you know what? They signed the buyer-rep agreement right there. Because they realized that I understood what it was, right? So, work on you is amazing. Right, so did we go through this yet? No. So we only want to work with the listing agent, right? Great, I understand how you feel, all the other, so this is the feel, felt, found objection handler. I can understand how you feel. Other buyers have felt the same way. And what I found is that there are two things that concern them after they know the facts. The buyers know the facts. The first is that the listing agent represents and negotiates on behalf of their seller client. And no one is negotiating on your behalf. Even though, Natalie, you think you're going to get a good deal, the primary fiduciary duty of the listing agent is to follow the seller's instruction and to be obedient, right? Clearly, the primary goal of the listing agent is to get the highest and best sale for their sellers, and wouldn't you agree on that? Right? So there's a close right there. The second is the huge amounts of time, effort, and energy you're spending chasing listing agents around, right? Missing out on homes that you would be interested in and are sold by the time you contact the listing agent. With that said, anything the listing agent tells you, I know I can certainly share with you, and a whole lot more, like what the other homes have sold for that are comparable, what the seller paid for on the home when they bought it, and wouldn't you agree that this information would be beneficial to you? Great. So, that's that.
Do you ever go into, I guess one point would be, you could say, if you want a deal, you basically, unless you know that listing agent and that they're gonna cut their commission, the same commission is available for the sale, whether the listing agent sells it or not, it would just depend. So I guess you could say, did they know you well enough that or do they know you enough that they would cut their own pay just to give you a deal, you know? Like, I guess
Right.
that's something to, I don't
Yeah,
know.
everything's predetermined in that contract, right?
Yeah,
With the listing agent, so I'll tell you, my listing agreements, 100%, 5%, 4.75% for both, right? And what's the seller sitting at the table telling me? Why so high? Well, you want to hire an agent that's going to get you the best. You're going to hire an agent that values their value, right? You don't want someone that's going to compromise your position. Why are you asking me to compromise mine? It's just that simple, right? So if they're telling you to cut your commission because everybody else is doing it, and they could sell their house in a week anyway, for me it's like, well, then go hire the other agent. Go do it, right? But you know what? I'm the agent that's going to tell you right here that I promise you, I hold so much value to what I do in this business for my clients, right? You're going to get the price that I know the market's going to pay you, right? And the reason is because I'm not going to compromise your situation, okay? That's it. And they look at you, the senior that I talked about with Courtney, 2.5 years later, the agent that I was competing with for all that time, he was telling her 3.5%. I got her listed for 5%. There was no compromise. And it's not because I painted, you know, changed the faucet. It's because I told her, you're gonna get what we set out to do. So,
Frank, I just had a question, sort of flipping a bit. So if you have a listing, like for instance, that lady that you sold your house, and someone came to you as a buyer and said, you know, I'm interested in making an offer on the house, they didn't have representation. So what do? You yourself, do you often just discuss the, not fully, what would you do? What do you do?
Okay.
Because I had that recently.
okay, so another thing, Natalie, too, my listing contracts, okay, 4.75, 5%. If Frank Caetano brings his own buyer, completes a completed sale, I drop it down to 3%. Right? That's my, it's written there, okay? Do I tell the buyer that comes to me? It's already written, right? I don't tell them that because the advantage is still to the seller here.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter.
So what do you tell your buyer
So-
that you represent?
So you come to me as a buyer, we're on the multiple representation, right?
Mhm.
Right? How do I handle that?
Mhm.
It's just, you know what? There's certain things that you're going to tell me ultimately that I don't want to share with the seller, right? So ultimately, what you want to pay for this home, keep it amongst yourselves. We do have to put a price on paper, okay? And all we're going to do is negotiate on paper here. That's it. Now, that's what you hope happens. But the buyer comes to my open house and they tell me right away they want to buy the house. They've already given me when they want to move in, what their motivation is. You know, I'm going to ask them if they're pre-approved, so I know what they're willing to pay, right? Again, our industry now is going through a very tough time where they're trying to remove multiple representation, right? So we'll see what happens there. I handle it pretty square up and make sure that everybody knows what they're not supposed to do. I mean, so everybody doesn't know what they're not supposed to do. I'm sorry. So yeah, I keep.
So
those.
did they say to you though, because I had one fellow say, he said, well, you know, do you want to put an offer in? He said, well, I can write you an offer. He said,
Yeah.
well, isn't that kind of a bit, you know, they actually have heard about
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
So what do you say to
Well,
that?
I say, listen, the same thing. I have a fiduciary, my seller has hired me. I have fiduciary duties to them, okay? I need to get them, I have to get them the highest and best price. I want to make sure that you understand that anything you tell me will remain confidential, okay? Because I do have an obligation to you as well. So, if you want to put an offer together, that's great. If you feel uncomfortable about it, I can get one of my agents in my office.
Yeah,
That's what I always say. I say that I can I can hire someone to just do work with you.
Or
So
to
it's,
write the offer.
Absolutely.
The offer,
I can
yeah.
write the offer and we can present it. So we
Yeah.
can stop having the conversation now and I can do that.
if you give them the option, they trust you even more, and then they usually are like, well, that's okay, you know.
Yeah.
But just give them the option, and
Yeah.
they feel like at least that
So
choice helps them.
Would you sign them as a customer then?
No, I
Not
usually
necessarily.
get them to sign.
Processes.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's their option, right, how they
Yeah.
want to deal with it, right?
Yeah.
So,
I'm just curious.
but if they're a customer,
Yeah.
how much of an obligation do I have to keep what they tell me from the
Yeah.
seller? Right? So, that's just, my habit is,
Right.
right? Yeah, all right.
Sounds good.
So, you brought something out, something that's really cool, because now we're gonna get into buyer consultation, something that I think I differentiate from other agents. These are the things that I'm gonna share with you. I shared a lot of things today, but, you know, let's stick with this stuff. But this stuff that's coming up now is, I think anyway, I don't think there's any other agents that are doing it. So, how you doing? So you're walking in, you've set the appointment, you're in your car, no radio's on, you got your best dress suit, everything on, you're preparing for that first knock on the door, and you know you're anxious, right? So knock on the door, walk in, short chatter, small talk, right? Get very comfortable. I always look around and I'm not kissing anyone's ass, but I start looking at some of the positive things, right? Where can I connect with them? If I see a little dog, I've got 2 golden retrievers, right?
7 out of 7.
I see a cat, I have a cat at home. I got a big family. You know, I see a signed Doug Gilmore jersey, all of a sudden we have a Leaf connection. There's so many ways that you can connect with people, even just meeting them for 20 minutes beforehand, and now you're finally sitting with them. I'll give you an example. I had an open house, I don't know if you came through, 322 McRoberts. Did you sell that one on Oakwood?
I did.
Right? There was another guy on the other side, what was that?
Well, it was a co-listing because
Oh,
people
okay.
couldn't agree on
I'm like,
the
hey, I
agent.
think that guy signed that, so I know her and I don't know the guy. Right? I
It
keep
was
driving by it.
interesting.
So 322 McRoberts, I hold an open house, right? I'm packed to the nines. September, and I'm pricing things 2016, circa 2016, right? So I'm going 100, 150 less than what the market's saying, offer date. I've been the busiest, right? 50 people coming through, I get a young couple come through. For me, when I'm at an open house, I swear to you, I am looking at who I can have conversations with. I know, I can sense it, body. I've said it many times, I've got this great instinct, I don't know, numbers, everything. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. I'm not bragging or anything. I'm just telling you, it just works for me. People tell me, what do you think of this? I say it, and then it ends up happening. I woke up yesterday morning, first thought was Norm, our OP. I walk in the office at 12, he's there. He looks at me and I said, buddy, I woke up this morning, you're the first person I thought about. He says, Frank, I was in the bloody hospital for an hour. He says, thank you, I know I'm gonna, and it was like one of those things, right? Like, why? Anyway, why am I going off topic? Because then I forget. Open house, 322 McRoberts, and it's young, I've got people all around me, and I'm just trying to focus in on who I'm gonna, right? And all of a sudden, this young couple come in, they've got an agent with them, and I'm just, you know, I pick it off, so I'm like, okay, just go through, enjoy. She comes up, of the couple, the female comes up to me. The male's very shy, right? He's with the agent. All of a sudden, another older couple come in, and I realize, she says, that those are my parents. She's in love with the house, but they can't afford it, right? So her and I are chatting, and I just pulled the guy in, the boyfriend, but I can still see the agent there, so I'm being you know, I don't want to interfere, but now I can tell the agent just isn't engaging. He just doesn't know what the hell he's doing there. And I'm wondering, why is this one of these things just doesn't belong? And it was him. Anyway, he walks out. And I pull offside, and I said, "Is your agent?" And she said, sold it. So we looked at something online. Zolo works that way, right? They send the agent the lead, and the agent calls the buyers, and they go look at stuff. So they walked in. He's gone. They come back with the parents. Sorry, the parents weren't there yet. Come back with the parents half an hour later, and now I start engaging the dad, Russians. Perfect, right? And chatting, and I had a long conversation with the father, and he says, I like you, right? This was great. So my daughter can afford this house, but I like you. He says, here's my number, call me later. Called him, she wants to put an offer in. He says, and then I have a conversation with him on the phone. He says, I called her, I said, who was that guy? She says, it's not our agent, don't worry about it. We actually have a friend that's in the business as well. I said, great. Father, my dad wants you to call him. Call Alex. He says, Frank, no, they're not going to buy it, but I want you to call them, sit down, find them a house. I'm like, holy shit, I just went through, I didn't even have to go through the buyer clothes or anything. The dad just did it for me.
You won them over.
So, they're with me now. They're still working with me. Those are the things that you pick off. There was one time in 2013, I'd just come off cancer treatment, and I was just like this animal. Nothing was going to break me down. I had an open house, 2 hours at Yonge and Sheppard where I lived. I had 30 people come through. I signed 9 buyer agency contracts in a month and a half from that open house. That was the absolute record for me. 9. I got all their names. The other ones didn't bother, but those 9 families, and one of them, 2 of them, sorry, are still raving fans. They're still around. And one's an East Indian couple. So break down, change the way you look at things, and things will change. So, when I work with these teams, they always said, it's got to be this way, it's got to be our brand, it's got to be done this way, whatever their names were. Mullen Ross, Daryl King, that's what it was. I couldn't be myself. So after I left them, I created my mission statement. And this is the most important message that I have, right? All I want to share with you, and what I want to share most important with you today, is that this whole process is about you, the buyer. This isn't about me, right? Not my brand, nothing about me, okay? It's about helping you exceed your expectations and achieving your goals. I'm here to assist you, offer advice, protect your best interests, listen to you, provide up-to-date information, negotiate on your behalf. Listen, this is a whole bunch of stuff. Help you realize the dream of your home ownership from beginning to end and well beyond the day you move in, right? And that's important. That last one's important. That's what matters most to me. It's here. Okay? And because when the time comes, your friends, family, and co-workers, they're always looking for a house. They're always looking for somebody. They're always asking, who did you work with, right? And I want to make sure that you think of me. I'm hoping that you do. And that's my business from 2015 to today is 60% referral now. That's huge. Where I worked for teams, where I was always on the phone, lead gen. Right? I still door knock, I still warm call, I do all that stuff. But referrals come in from these people like crazy. And it's because I'm just being myself. Just be you. People will appreciate who you are. The more you know, the better you become. Okay, so you sat down with them, you've given your mission statement. Work on your mission statement. What is the most important thing you want to share with them? What's the message? That it's about them. You could say whatever you want. But for me, it's I sit down, right? Natalie, I want to thank you for having me here today, you and your husband. I really appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity. This is a big deal for me, honestly. We don't get these many opportunities. And I really want to make sure that you know that this whole thing is going to be about you and not about me. It's never about me, okay? Great.
That's good.
So that is very important because there are a lot of agents out there that make it about them. So I've had buyers come to me and tell me that this agent showed me 3 houses, he wanted me to buy one. And then when I said, no, you're being too pushy, I never saw them again. I'm telling you, these things happen. They happen, right? You know. So, sat down, I've told you what's important to me. Don't forget the buyer agreement, okay? Don't have that out. You have a folder, right? You have your buyer guide, right? So it's just a questionnaire. All right, let's get started, right? So you pen out, ask questions, they talk, have the pen out, and write down. You're doing this, right? And they're talking, you're looking at both, and then and you're writing down, you're reaffirming that you're listening, right? Okay? Ask the next question, shut up and listen. Don't interrupt them, never interrupt them. Okay? Ignore one and you are dead done, that's it. A buyer who quits talking is a buyer that will not be closed. So if you're talking to one, and the other one's quiet all the time, it's not going to happen. Okay, the questionnaire, remember, you've got a sense of what they wanted even before you met with them, right? So now you're bringing out the MLS map, and then you give it to them and say, listen, can you point out the neighborhoods that you're looking to buy? Okay. You know what I'll do too, if you guys give me your business card, I'll actually give you this whole, I'll send you this one. I know it's small. I don't do this stuff, right? Okay.
It's hard to read.
So I'm like, PowerPoint. My daughter's like, Daddy, you can do it this way. I'm typing this like 30 font, right? And all of a sudden I'm adding things. I said, honey, why is it getting smaller and smaller? She said, well, Daddy, you have a lot to write. So the font decreases, right? The box is only so big. I said, all right. Price range, again, you're re-asking those questions that were kind of subtle in the beginning, right? Before you had to sit down. So the questionnaire. Timing, motivation, do they have it? They don't have it anymore. Pre-approval, you're going to nail this down now, right? You met them at the open house, you asked them if they were pre-approved, they said yes, great. Now you're going to re-ask again. Because I'm telling you, they may have gone to their bank and got a verbal, and that's not good enough. You are the professional here, and you are going to confirm everything with them. So, you see, I remember at the open house, you said you were pre-approved, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Did you go to the bank or was the mortgage broker there?
Mortgage broker.
Oh, fantastic, great. So you have that pre-approval in writing? How long is it for?
I'm sorry,
How long is it for? 3 months, 90 days, or 120?
90 days.
90 days, perfect. Okay, so we're in March now, April, May, June, right? End of June, okay, perfect. That's when you said you wanted to move in, right? So again, now I'm reaffirming some of the conversations that we had, and he's looking at me and saying, oh, this guy's listening, right? Right, I hope so. What are they really looking for? What are they looking to buy? You're going to get very expressive people, hardwood floors, carpet, they want 2 bathrooms, they want parking, basement finished, they want a walkout, they need an apartment because it's the first time, they want the mortgage supplemented by some rental income. Explain to them the non-retrofit aspect of it, okay? Very important. Now you're going to have to add the whole tenancy, right? What happens, right? You rent out to someone, you want them to leave, you're going to pay them a month's rent. More information legitimizes your professionalism, right? Okay? So style, bedrooms, ask about deposit, down payment. These are very important things, right? You're breaking down kind of the components of the offer within your consultation, right? So, you know, my clients, they had a deposit, I didn't know how much, right? And I wanted to make sure, up in Keswick, deposits don't have to be that large, right? So, you know, Port Perry, $5,000 is like $1 million down there. It's crazy, but it is. So you've asked them all the questions, right? And they're going to just give you information, trust me, they are. They're going to give you a lot of information. You're going to write it down, you're going to throw it back at them verbally, and then now you're going to start discussing the neighborhoods because you live in it or you farm it, and you're going to start discussing a lot of the positive stuff. Again, reaffirming your professionalism and your expertise in the neighborhood, right? People talk about Corso Italia. I get referrals when people are looking in Leslieville. You know, one of my favorite couples, big raving fans, live on McRoberts. And he's 6'3", big basketball fan. When I first met them, how I met them? At Notre Dame, right after my treatment. My wife and I were treated to a dinner there. Our waitress was unbelievable, our server. Started having a little conversation, because you can meet people at an open house, you can meet them on a subway, you can meet them at a restaurant. It's important for you to have conversations with them. I'm lucky because I have a wife that is so social, it's unbelievable. And she will engage people without any fear in a conversation. If she had her real estate license, I would be at home. She's that incredible. I would write the offers, but she's incredible in terms of that aspect. Had a conversation, ended up having a consultation. They wanted to buy in Leslieville, pulled up the MLS map, started looking at some houses. All the basements were too short, right? I'm door knocking in my neighborhood, because I hadn't yet bought there. I was still at Young and Shepherd. I'm looking for myself. Found a beautiful 2-bedroom renovated, high basement ceiling. The seller let me through her house. They're ready to sell. Right time at the right place. And I said, listen, I got the perfect people for you. I need 3, there was only 2. I called Les and Sophia, and from Leslieville, they're still living in Corso Italia. They're my my biggest raving fans. And they still tell the story. They can't believe how they went from East End to there. And they love the neighborhood, right? They absolutely love it, right? So sometimes where they want to buy and their expectations might not meet their budget. And I can tell you that I've been running into a lot of that lately.
Yeah, it's like the prices, like, well, in like this area, so are just going bonkers. Like,
So what I do is I say, you know, when I read in the Toronto Star, you can't buy anything for under $1 million in downtown Toronto. That's one of mine. That's bull, that's BS, right? I bought for less than $500,000 five years ago. I'm worth a lot more now. Not me, my house. So when people say, you know, top neighborhoods, top 140 neighborhoods, TorontoLife.com, that was a year ago or 2 years ago, that article.
There's a new one just published the other day.
Corso Italia is number 17. The neighborhood that I moved from is lower than mine. Now, of course, you can move the dynamics around and see how, you know, it measures up. But listen, when I see that, bang, I'm on my Facebook page and saying, look at this little name, Corso Italia. When someone Googles Corso Italia, oh man, this guy really uses that word a lot, right? Let me check into Frank Caetano, neighborhood realtor, Corso Italia. So when people say I want to live in the annex, or I want to live at St. Clair and Christie, which is $1.3 to $2.5 million, I say, well listen, I got a great neighborhood for you. I happen to live in it. And I got 2 daughters. And this is another very important part of my consultation, is this, 2 o'clock. I'm going to make sure when I show you houses, that the houses that I show you, if I don't feel comfortable having my family in it, I'm going to make sure that you're not going to buy it. That's very important to me, okay? So we're talking about areas, neighborhoods. It's just something that I value very highly, right? So if I don't feel like I can have my daughters walk out of that home at 9 o'clock at night, right, go for a walk, then you're not going to buy it. You're not buying that. So. All right, reconfirm the information that they gave you, read it back, and do their house expectations meet their budget? Again, if they're looking to buy in a high value area, know your other neighborhoods and talk about them. I've put 6 families in Corso Italia in 2 years that wanted to live elsewhere. And I'm working on 3 others right now. And there's 2 reasons why. Affordability, number 1, and number 2, I want my neighbors to be my clients, right? Because all of a sudden they're in a home on McRoberts and their neighbors start talking to them about selling. Hopefully they'll send me over. So you've done it. Like you've had the conversation, you've pulled in all their information, and now what do? Right? You want to get all their information. You're going to pull out the FinTrack form, right? Okay? Now you're going to share your ideas. What's your role as a buyer agent? How do you differentiate yourself from everyone else? You're going to put them on MLS, specific to what they told you, right? You're going to invite them to collaborate. You guys collaborate? You use it? And what the benefits are? They're on Realtor.ca now anyway, right? So it's a day late, 24 hours usually. Do you guys know what your fiduciary duties are to a buyer and to a seller? I use the acronym OLD-CAR. Okay? Know these things, guys. Obedience, loyalty, full disclosure, confidentiality. And when I say full disclosure, you're getting full disclosure on the seller, not your buyer, right? You want to know about the house, if there's any leakage, roofing issues. So when I go show a house, and I tell them at the consultation, when I show you a home, I preview homes as well, so I'm not going to waste your time. If you're coming from Mississauga, you want to buy in Corso Italia, I'm going to send you some houses, you're going to collaborate with me and tell me what you like, right? And then I'm going to go look at those homes for you, and I'm going to make sure that they meet your criteria before you drive out here. You have a job, 9 to 5, whatever it is, this is my job, right? And I don't want you wasting your time at 7 o'clock at night, an hour to come over here and look at me and say, why the hell are we looking at this house? I'm not doing my job, right? All right? Obedience, loyalty, full disclosure, anything that you could learn from the seller's side. Duty of care, right? You make sure that you're doing the right things. And duty of care, one of them can be the reverse CMA, right? That's something that you do for your buyers once they hire you. Do that with listings, right? When we are selling a house, put a house up for sale, we give them an idea of what their house would price out at, right? Well, when they're buying a house, you're pulling out all the comparable sales for that specific home so that you can start working on a range of price to offer, right? Accounting, make sure, I'm telling you a lot of the questions that I'm getting today from buyers, even very close friends that are buying, where does my money end up? They're afraid, right? Because all they've been hearing about is all these deals that fell apart last August and July, and these deposits being lost, right? Well, your deposits being held in a trust account until closing, used against the purchase price, right? Okay, and it's safe. Right? I've done deals with very small brokerages, all right, one-man brokerages, and I've made sure that the deposit's in our account. And I've had that brokerage, that agent call me and say, what the F do you think you're doing? And I look at it, and I'm on the phone, unfortunately I can't look at them, and I say, I'm doing the right thing for my client. Do you have a problem with it? Go take another offer, I don't give a shit. What's most important is my client, that's it. Right? The money's gonna stay there. Last year, I can tell you, I had 2 deals, right, during the March Madness. I had 2 deals, the buyer agents thought that their buyers were going to get out. One buyer wanted an extension because the money wasn't coming fast enough from overseas. So, I guess the suitcase wasn't big enough. So they needed an extra month, right? And this was during all that time. All that March Madness failing. And another thing that I did is I had lunch with my lawyer and my mortgage broker. It was very important. I wanted to know what was going on the backside. I know what was going on in real estate. I want to know what was going on the backside. So, they wanted an extra month. We already had a $100,000 deposit. I called the agent up, who actually was the buyer as well, builder. I said, I'm going to take a $50,000 extra deposit from you. It's going to be held with our lawyer, not even with our brokerage. I said, because if you call me again and tell me that you need more time, you're going to lose this deposit. And I'm putting that clause in the offer. She yelled, screamed, and she accepted it. They signed off. The day before they were supposed to close, she calls me up. She says, we need another week. I said, okay. I said, you lose that deposit. She said, called me at 7 o'clock the next morning, the day of close. She says, we're closing. That's it. There's always ways of handling this stuff, and I always use personal experience to gain the trust of these people. Right? So when I show you a home, I'll preview them. When I walk into a house, you're going to look at the house. I'm going to go look at windows. I'm going to go look at the roof outside. I'm going to go look at the wiring. I can tell you in baseboard, if I see an outlet there, there's not been tube in there. I know it. I'm going to go look at the furnace. I'm going to look at the mechanics. I'm going to look at the plumbing. These are important things for me to know, because if we get into a multiple offer situation and you're competing, and you're thinking about maybe we should remove the inspection clause, I'm going to tell you that all these things are something you're going to have to attend to. If we're not competing and you like the house and there's a certain price involved with buying the house, I can tell you, even before a home inspection, before you spend $400 or $500 on a home inspection, that you're going to be spending money here. So you tell me what you want to do. These are little things that they turn around and look at you and say, you know what, thank you. There's too much going on here. I'm going to spend like $50,000 in here. I don't need to do this. And then, you know, if I did a home inspection for $500 and found out these things, now I've wasted $500, right? Just little things that kind of put you above, beyond, you know, and that might make a difference, right? The buyer market analysis, right? We talked about that. Discuss the offer process, right? make them aware what they need to have, what's involved, the conditions involved, why are they in place, to protect them, offer dates, what does that mean, multiple offers, right? And this is very important right at the end. Besides everything that I'm going to do in terms of putting you on MLS, showing you homes that meet your criteria, you told me that you want to live in a specific neighborhood. I'm going to go knock on that neighborhood. I'm going to call that neighborhood. I'm going to try and find a home seller that only wants to deal with you. And I have postcards for that, specific to those homeowners. I have a family. I never see a buyer. Dear homeowner, I have a family that's hired me to find a home in the neighborhood. They're well qualified. This is their time frame. And they've asked me to call you or asked me to come in and see if you're interested in selling in the next 3 to 6 months. I've had that done. I've done sellers. I've done exclusives. Okay? And they love this stuff. That you're going out and door knocking for them. So, door knocking for them. Previewing homes. Right? Putting them on 2 systems. Telling them about the buyer's DNA. But this is a big deal. It's a big deal. All right. There we go. Now what do they want what do they want in an agent anyway? So I always ask.
When you door knock, like, I've tried to do that, I haven't had much success, because, I don't know.
Door knocking?
With
Yeah.
finding a place for someone, I don't know, but.
Well, and you know what? After all of this, it's just 3 sentences. It's amazing, but it's, and I'll go door knock and hi, listen very quickly. And again, I'm a soft close. I'm not a hard, I'm not, hey, you know who I am? It's, Natalie, hi, sorry, I don't want to take too much of your time, just a minute. My name's Frank, I'm with Keller Williams. I've got a family, I never see a buyer, I never see one person. I've got a family looking to purchase a home in this neighborhood. And they've hired me to ask to see if you might be looking to sell in the next 3 to 6 months. Are you thinking of selling? Right? I get a yes or no, we've been here. Oh, you've been here for, how long? You've been here? 30 years, and I'm going out in the box. Oh, no, we don't want to talk about that. Listen, thank you very much for your time. You can get into the whole thing, are you curious at all what homes sell in the neighborhood? You get the whole thing going, then add them to your database thing. But, for me, it's like no's. I want to hit 100 homes, right? And there's a lot of stairs and a lot of mileage there, right? So I want to get through it very quickly. And 2.5 years ago, those ones, personal experiences, those ones that just tell you, and you stay with them, and that's what keeps it going. There's so much failure in this business. It's incredible, it really is. Just that leads to success, right? So this question here is just putting them in the spot of saying yes, right? So you've told them everything that you're going to do. You've gotten all the information from them. And now I'm just going to ask this. Can I ask you, Ethan, what is it that you're looking for in a real estate agent when you hire one? Typically when I get someone that wants to listen to me. Every time I deal with these agents before and they've never signed it, it's just something. But I just want somebody that I can trust, who's loyal to me, right? That listens, right? And is always giving me information that's really helpful, right? So they've already reaffirmed what you've told them that you're going to do, right? So I think everything we discussed today is what we're looking for in an agent. Great, let's get started. So I have a very, very clear process in how I do things. The buyer rep agreement doesn't come out until the end. I don't want a contract until the end. FinTrack is the first thing. They've invited you to their home. They've opened up their whole world to you. Information, what they want. You've shared with them how you can help them. Now it's time to get some information from them in terms of legal. And I'm telling you, once you pull up this FinTrack, say, listen, you know what? I need some legal stuff. Do you have a driver's license? Yeah, okay, good. And the reason for this is that after 9/11, you go through those ones. After 9/11, there was a lot of money laundering going through real estate in Ontario. And what ended up happening is that I would take you out as a buyer, right? And you like the home, you want to put an offer in, and pre-9/11 especially, personal check. Bank drafts and certified checks weren't mandatory there. I take that personal check for $50,000, we make it conditional on financing and home inspection. Obviously, they wouldn't do the home inspection. And a few days later, they'd call me up, the buyer, and say, you know what, we decided we couldn't get our financing, we're backing out. So now my company would clean that money back out and write a check to you for $50,000 as a buyer, and then you'd funnel that back to whatever terrorist organization you're dealing with. That's what happened. Government got wind of it, and that's why we were mandated to fill out these forms. So you're basically blaming the government for it, right? And they don't have a problem. I'm telling you, I get driver's license like you wouldn't believe, right? So I'm filling that out, know now what their occupation is, right? And now I've built enough trust that they're giving me very personal information, right? So FinTrack first. Number two, we're done with that. I just want to show you this form. It's called the Working with a Realtor form. This is not actually part of, this is not actually a contract in itself, all right? What it is I'm going to explain agency relationship to you. Now, you can be a customer where, limited fiduciary duties are involved. You can be a client where there's all those duties that I've explained to you, and you're hiring us to represent you, right? And then there's multiple representation as well, so you go through that process as well, okay? So I mentioned to you that I go door knock and I might get an exclusive seller. That would be multiple representation, okay? Now, keep in mind, you are my client. You're my responsibility first and foremost. Seller comes into play, I will have a seller exclusive agreement with them, but you're my first and foremost client here, okay? So it's a reverse. So it's my obligation to review these forms of agency at the earliest opportunity, and the form's not a contract. It's simply acknowledgement from you, and I'm explaining it, so please sign it and initial that. So, FinTrack came out, right? Working with a realtor, now the buyer representation agreement. Before I bring it out, I said, guys, you ready to go? You good? Yeah? Are you okay with me working on your behalf? I can give the home that, yeah, okay, great. So, this is the buyer agreement, and I start with page 3, all right? Page 3 is the insurance. And I tell them that I am fully insured, okay, by RICO. It also shows the professionalism side of it. All right, so I'm signing first on the buyer agreement on page 3, okay? And then I go back to page 1, and I start filling in their names, address, and explain to them that the buyer agreement has a start date, which will be today, and an expiry date as well. And then I ask them, how long do you think it's going to take for you to buy a house? Ethan, you told me June, right?
Yes.
And that's pretty much where the pre-approval is set, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, are you okay with me putting in here the end of July?
Sure.
Okay, and the reason why I put the end of July is because I'm never going to go away. So, and I also want you to know that my contracts, even though it says specific expiry, things always come up. So I want you to know that no matter what, you're always going to call me. You can always email me. If there's something mail that's still going to the old seller, whatever it is, if something comes up, please call me. I deal a lot with a builder, contractor, and we top up a lot of bungalows. So we've had issues where, you know, whether it's wiring or whatever, a switch didn't work or something like that, I get these buyers calling me a year later and say, Frank, you know what, something's kind of off. And Don, my builder, my first and foremost client, he'll go over there, he'll fix it. Right? So that's something that I tell them. Again, it's just reaffirming I'm there. It's something that I'll do above and beyond. You know, so I'm filling in the expiry date. Sometimes you get people that'll say 30 days. Do you mind if we just take 30 days? And I always throw back in, how long do you think this is going to take? You really want to reinitial this thing, re-sign it, right? So it works. Always, how long do you think it's going to take for you to, before you move into your home? And then that's the expiry date. So I pull this out after I fill in that part, and it's the confirmation of co-op. Those 2 pages on the offer? Okay. And there's a reason why. I break down the listing and the selling side, right? And how commission works. Okay. So listing agent represents the seller, cooperating brokerage section, explain our role, try to get the lowest possible price, terms acceptable to them, and then explain how the commission is paid. Pull out an MLS listing, go to the bottom, it says 2.5% typically, right? Then you tell them that's what they're offering us, that's what we'll accept, okay? And then you ask them, almost like a joke, you say, are you okay with the sellers paying our fee? And they'll laugh at you, right? And they say, you know, I told you it was free, right? That was a kidding. So, this is a very tricky thing, and I think this is a lot of the hesitation that agents themselves and buyers have in terms of not signing these things. And I'm wondering if any of you guys have done this. It's very annoying, okay? So when I explain the commission statement, right, BRA page 2, is it page 2 or 3? 2, right? And it always says, if an offer is brought acceptable to the seller will pay the cooperating brokerage a fee of blank, right? And typically we put 2.5%, right? And then there's a blank line underneath, right? Right? You guys do anything with that? Anybody? Fill anything there? No? Okay, I'm going to show you how you're going to get these things signed, okay? This is the one kicker that always, because if they don't sign there and they take it and say, you know what, we're going to review this. And all of a sudden you get a phone call or an email the next day. I got to pay the difference? Are you kidding me? No, I'm not signing this, right? How do you get around that? So, this is what I put in. I type, or as per MLS posting, or exclusive seller agreement. Remember when I told you that I go door knocking and I might get a seller that wants to sell directly to you? Well, they're not going to have a listing agreement signed with any agent. So I'm going to have a seller exclusive listing with them. So that's what that is. No, if I can explain, or as per MLS posting. Remember when I pulled out the MLS listing? And I was explaining you the confirmation of co-op, right? And it said they were offering 2.5%. So I would say, that's what I would type in, right? What if it's only 2% or 2.25? Now, I'm going to show you the house that you want to buy, regardless of what the agent or the seller's offering in commission. That's not important to me. What's important to me is the home that you want. What am I doing right now? I got Natalie nodding, right? So Natalie's actually telling me, you know what, that's great. That's fantastic, right? So it says underneath, it says the buyer is responsible for the deficiency in what's posted and what's written in this buyer rep agreement, right? So when I put that in, I'm telling you, buyers look at me and say, oh, all right. Because I say, in 23 years in this business, not one buyer client has ever paid me a commission. I always get paid by the sellers. So if it's 2.25 or 2%, that's what I assume.
Even for, well, especially for a lease, because those people are usually like really worried about having to pay. And I always just write as I'm paid by seller, 2.5 or half a month plus rent or HST,
Yep.
as paid by seller. And then when they see that, they're like, Oh, okay, it's okay, because people freak out when they see that.
So,
Yeah.
so even with a buyer agreement and you put, or as per MLS posting, again, you're explaining the same thing. Like, that's the same thing even on lease.
Yeah,
Whatever is posted, whatever is written or typed in on MLS is what the seller's paying my brokerage. You're not paying me a cent. Guys, I'm telling you, this is the most important thing. I worked with a team, my last team, they didn't want me to put this on. They thought, because for them it was about them. And they wanted to make sure they got paid, right? How are you serving the public when you're thinking like that? And that's pretty much why I left, because I wouldn't take it on. Now, did I run into 2% and 2 1/4? 2 1/4, yes. Very, very rarely. But the majority of the time, it was always 2.5%. Because you know what else I did? Sorry.
Sorry, there are some listings, I think they're the Comfrey, whatever,
Yeah.
they only offer, is it 1% or something?
They offer
So-
like,
Like, so that
like a
would
penny.
include that, right?
Yeah, well, Comfrey, the thing about Comfrey is, or, I don't know what it is, but they'll say the seller's willing to,
Negotiate,
so what I do is, when I show the property,
right,
the seller is there, because Comfrey's not gonna show up,
right,
and I bring this, even before I show it, I call the seller and I say, hey,
okay.
I wanna show your property, but I'm sending you something, and you're gonna
Okay,
sign it,
okay,
2.5%, yeah. Again, rarely do I run into it, but I'm telling you, it is like a slam dunk. It is a slam dunk, and people, you know, they don't even have to take it, and I walk out and they're saying, you know, we're gonna review it tonight, and we'll let you know tomorrow. We just wanna review it, and then we'll sign it. That is a confirmation. That is where they're saying, you know what, this guy's great, but that's it. It closes it ensures that you're getting it signed. That is it. And I don't think there are a lot of agents, I don't think anyone, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know that that's just something that I put in there and they just rave about it, so. It's key, because it's pre-typed. It's pre-typed in there. One more thing I want to show you guys. I think that's it there. Okay. Oh, there it is. So, even after that, so all those things that I'm sharing with them, those ideas, those different things that I will do for them. It's my personal promise to the buyers that I put out. I do not perform to the standard that I have set out at the meeting, that I give them sole option to walk away. Guys, I'm telling you, where am I here? Did I go there? Where is it? Sorry, here it is. Last thing, so you keep this is yours. So now they have a total service guarantee. Even at an open house, even out during a consultation, they don't want to sign it right away. Before I walk out, I said, listen, I filled it out. I'm going to leave you with my total service guarantee. I said, listen, if you decide not to hire me, I want you to make sure that whoever you do hire, that they give you something like this. Okay? What time is it?
3:30.
Oh, well, they did say 1 to 3:30. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
So, I got a whole bunch of stuff here. If you guys want this in writing, give me your email, give me your card, and I'll send it off to you.